very specific. I agree. Well, are you guys going to be unable to move on from the test till we talk about it?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then, so I think the first question, there were like a couple minor mistakes early on the test, but I think the first like actual question that mattered was number 7, I'm thinking.
Should I get also a compass for drawing?
No, you'll need the shapes template is quicker circle drawing. So I want to say everyone was good up until the shapes on number 7.
Until 7.
So here's the problem. You and your brain is used to trying to assume things and trying to relate things and trying to say those are the same size or that is a right angle. And in mathematics, unless we are specifically told, yes, that condition is congruent or perpendicular or whatever, we don't know that. So in these shapes, this was just like a little, and I will keep doing this problem every year, even though I know kids are always going to miss it. This is a little like only use what you know. So A, most of us got that right. The only thing you are certain of is the parallelness of the top and bottom and the left and right, making that shape a parallelogram. That's it.
Oh, I got it right, but now I'm thinking about the other one.
So in B, what do we know? Sorry, it's got to find here. There, that should be better now that it can't see off my desk. Sorry, it was messing up because it could see past my desk and it was 2 different depths. So in B, the only thing we know is the diagonals are perpendicular, which means it could be what? Could be a rectangle. It could also be a trapezoid. It could also be a kite. So since it could be all of those things, but we don't know anything else, it's quadrilateral. We normally use the gon naming to talk about regular polygons. So we'll say like it's a regular fourgon. It means it's a equilateral quadrilateral, but not necessarily a square. But this is just a quadrilateral. That's it. There are a variety of types of quadrilaterals that could have, or that do have, perpendicular bisect or diagonals, but we don't know anything else about this. Now, if you then found out the top and the right were congruent, you could say it could be a kite, could be a square, right? Like if you find out that the diagonals are also bisectors, that tells you something else. Or if one of the angles then is given to you, but when this is the only thing we see, it's just a quadrilateral. Now in C, the diagonals do bisect, but we do not see any angles. So what does that leave C being restricted to? Sophia?
It can't be a trapezoid.
Can't be. It's a rectangle. That's it. It's a rectangle. Yeah, C is a rectangle. That's it. Rectangles have diagonals that bisect each other.
I didn't realize that until my friend was asking me to quiz her on something.
And you're like, oh yeah! I love those moments. And then D, a lot of people tried to write this on B or C, but it's actually the answer for D. If all of the sides of a quadrilateral are congruent to each other, but we know nothing else about it that makes it a rhombus. Rhombuses have the 4 congruent sides. Why? Why would you do that? Why would you do such a silly thing like that? Alright, now everyone go look at 9. Everyone go look at 9. Now, if you just straight up have the answers, please don't just shout them out. We want to talk about the why of this all. So I'm hoping that it will stop changing its zoom.
Always is like, oh, I'm not smart, and then she's like, and then she gets it right while we get it wrong.
I knew mine wasn't right when I turned it in, but I figured you helped me learn how to do it.
To be honest, I was
Well, then if you got A wrong,
I just realized why I got this question on the first page, and it was pretty stupid. Now Sammy, you do not need to tell me.
Alright. Alright. My camera will not stop going in and out of focus, so we're just going to go with it.
I don't get why Mr. Hudson all circled your 9AB and only circled my 8. Oh, right.
You are such a whiner.
It's not the thing.
You just are looking for things to complain about.
I like
Ooh,
it.
you found a
Thank
lot of
you.
highlighters. Can I have one of those? Because mine's like dull.
I can continue to circle everything.
So,
Yeah.
of the
It's like a marker, not like a highlighter.
of the students who take PE, 20% are seniors. Not 20% of the school. 20% of the people who take PE. Because the other seniors probably already have that credit. The most popular PE class is Walking Wellness. 60% of the seniors in phys ed take this course. Are you getting ideas for wellness, Mr. Smith? Well, 15% of the rest of the PE students take Walking Wellness. So, if we try to build this table, a lot of you put in a 15% where it does not go. And then that messed up like everything.
I did not put in a 15%.
So if we start building this table, the easiest thing to do is like Walking Wellness or not and seniors or not. Right? So I'm just going to say Walking Wellness or other
I just put no.
and seniors or not. You know, like underclassmen.
Let's keep watching.
Watching, you're about to do this for me. I'm not doing it. So of the students who take PE at our Arundel High School, 20% are seniors. So where does 20% go?
At the bottom of the seniors.
At the bottom of the
Across the
seniors.
side.
Here?
No, across the
I'm sorry,
yeah.
mine switched the other way.
Ah, yeah, you pivoted at your table. So out here?
Yeah.
We all agree?
Yeah.
Okay. The most popular PE class is Walking Wellness, and 60% of the seniors who take the PE take this course.
So out of the total seniors, so out of the 20%, it would be 60%.
So it'd be 20 times 60%.
20, so 0.2 times 0.6, 0.12.
Yeah.
That's what we have to do. So
I did that in my
this
homework today. Now I get okay.
That's what I did.
Wait, I did that too.
Apparently I got messed
Then
up.
other one's 0.5.
Wait, I did that.
now 0.15 doesn't go anywhere in the table. That's what messed with people.
Outside the table.
Because it says while 15% of the rest of the PE students take Walking Wellness. So, well, the rest of the PE, yeah, so the rest of the students is the not seniors, right? This is 80% of the student population because this is going to have to be 1.
Yeah.
So you do 15% of 8,
15% of 80.
which is
Let's see. Use a calculator because I don't know what that is.
that's not the calculator.
It's 0.12.
So wait, where does that go?
The not.
The not.
The not.
Just below our other 0.12, right? Because it's actually, that comes out kind of nice in a weird way. So 24, what is this telling us? Not that we actually need it, but
Total walking wellnessers.
yeah, 24% of people in wellness are taking Walking Wellness, leaving, what's this?
76% students don't take walking.
And then the other one is.
It's the senior other is 0.8 and then the not is
Bruh.
No,
0.08, be careful.
but and the other is 0.68.
Oh gosh.
Okay.
Well, I was good until the bottom.
So we don't really need the bottom. We figure out these going left to right because we know these out here. Now can we move on from your masteries?
No, we need.
Yeah, I can figure out B.
Yeah, we can do B.
I can figure out B by myself.
Once you have the table, you should once your table is corrected,
Can I
you
just
should be
easy
good to
to
go.
do? So I wrote that down. Well,
So
those
what
just
is
work. I like.
That's fine.
Okay, cool.
All right, can we do the lesson? I promise it's fast. Draw 3 pizzas. When you finish up whatever you're currently looking at, draw 3 pizzas, so 3 circles. Pizza.
Oh yeah. B is very easy. You have the table.
That's why I didn't want to do it for
So do I not need this? Or do I still need it for this?
you'll want that today, for class.
Okay.
To be able to highlight a part of an arc instead of just trying to shade it, it's easier to just highlight it. All right, so here are the 3 situations we're setting up. So I will give you a moment to do that. We have 3 different pizzas. They ordered a bunch of pizzas at this pizza parlor, and at real pizza places, the size of the pizza is gonna vary. Depending on what kind of pizza it is, depends on how big they're gonna make it, because the amount of toppings and how it cooks. It's not like Papa John's or Domino's where everything's identical. So if you want to be accurate, there's a few different circles on your template. A is and not accurate, but kind of scaled. A is a 20-inch diameter pizza. B is a 16-inch diameter pizza. And so C actually goes back up to A's pizza. So we actually only need 2 pizzas then, because C is going to eat part of A's. Read before you do.
You said to make 3, so
We
Yeah,
tried.
but you should have asked. We can have 3 different. It'll be easy that way. But you can also just have 2 at a minimum.
Wait, so we don't need to erase the third?
Did I say erase the 3rd?
Oh my god!
I don't
And people wonder why I find teaching middle schoolers fun.
I wonder
literally
why
just
you do
erased
it,
that circle.
and then,
You're like, you don't need to erase that circle.
I never said any. I said draw 3 pizzas. I never said
you think
erase
this
the
is
3rd.
fun, but
I didn't.
I think you guys are better than these problems. I was going to say good enough, but that's not even true. I think you're better than these problems. I bet if I give you 3 minutes, you can solve them all.
Nope.
Hmm?
So should I
Are
start
you
reading
serious?
now?
Knock it off, Athena. I think your class is going to have an uprising against you.
No.
Start calling you Miss Mastery or something.
I died.
Trying to find the area of the pizza that they ate.
Like 45 is 1/8 of that area, so.
Are we just trying to figure out?
Or could be.
Okay, this is D, so the radius is
Wait, doing Spanish. That's one of the
figure out the circumference. What was the circumference of the line?
I think the
Pi D.
circumference is something D equals.
Crust is pi dough. C equals pi d. Crust is pi dough.
I've watched that video before.
You can find the radius.
Okay,
I
I'm
knew
gonna
it was
find
D,
the circumference.
something
It's
D.
pi times diameter, so
Never mind, I'll get my own calculator.
no, we already have it. Radius 10, and then pi r squared divided by 2.
Why are you talking do math because it's
Why did I do
it confuses me because then I'm trying to do my own mental math.
The circumference is 62.8.
Well, I got the
So the
area.
goalie is hungry.
Area of pi squared.
Yeah, that's a big piece. Well,
Yeah, a 20-inch pizza.
And
then she eats half of it. Ooh.
is it?
I mean, on a good night, I can probably eat half a pizza.
No, too much pizza.
Not good school pizza.
So area is pi times
Oh,
radius
wow.
squared,
I did
which nicely up here, the radius is 10. So because we're going to leave our answers in terms of pi, leave your answers in terms of pi, our area of pizza A is 100 pi, right?
Oh wait, I was
Pretty
right.
easy.
Then divide by 2.
Meaning the goalie consumed
50 pies.
50 pi inches squared.
Yeah. 50 pi.
So remembering that pi is approximately 3, that's like 150 square inches, right? So I always like to kind of reimagine areas as a rectangle to make life easy and try to see that. Imagine 10 inches by 15 inches, just solid rectangle pizza. Like literally, that's probably like about this big,
Yeah.
and a bit longer than my hands, obviously.
That much pizza.
It's a fair amount of pizza. Sorry, the goalie ate
Well,
this.
it's ice hockey, so
You'd be pretty like hot and sweaty.
Go ask Claire. I don't know. I think even after like if I did like a game, I still wouldn't be able to eat that much.
So now Sonia chooses from a smaller pizza. She's less hungry, or she's like just making the rounds, eating some different pizzas.
Or she's still in college and she's trying to save. Should we get like we did the area? Should we do the other problem?
Let's come back to those. Let's think area first and come back to those.
Yeah. So it's perfect number 62 point.
You what?
I got 8 pi in the area for squares.
Now wait, back me up first. If we have a pizza diameter of 16 inches and we think about the entire pizza,
Okay, then it would be 64 pi.
Is that the area?
because it's radius squared, 64 times pi.
Yeah, and then 45 degrees is 1/8.
So then we take the portion of the circle that we have and we say, well, 45 out of the whole circle,
Why did you?
because my screen, whenever I write like this, it pulls up that and then I can't write. You ask a question and then you don't pay attention. That's why.
I was writing
So it's
down
an
the thing.
I don't know if you said it was an 8, but it's an 8.
Yeah, so that is an eighth. Maybe it's because you're a complainer.
No, Miss like tried to copy my voice and she went like 5 octaves.
David, you know it's because we like you, right? Like obviously this class, of course, I love all of you guys, but like the kids we pick on are kids that we know can handle it because we know your personality, we like you, we jive well, we have a
Wouldn't pick on
banter.
people who can't handle it because then that just
Then
People
kids
get fucked.
rip up their test and walk out of my classroom like happened yesterday.
Are you like are you serious?
So this we could just divide by 8. And what's 64 divided by 8?
I wonder what it is.
8. Oh, hey, look at that. So Sonia ate 8 pi inches squared and is looking over at the goalie like she's a 10.
Oh, okay.
What? Like you pack a bunch in. Man, when I eat a lot, I'll say I'm a 10. Actually, I'm just a boy, most normally. In our fraternity, if you couldn't finish your meal, like we'd go up to CC's or wherever. CC's is like a pizza buffet. And especially if you go to a buffet and you get a bunch of food that you don't eat, that's wasteful. So we started this thing because going to CC's was like a thing that we did because it was like really close to campus. Where if you had pizza left on your plate that you couldn't eat, you like weren't hungry anymore, you're like, I'm done, I'm out. You had to proclaim that you were just a boy and you had to take the dishes and whatever. Because we were like, that's wasteful. Like, don't get pizza that you can't eat. So it became a thing saying, I'm just a boy when you couldn't finish your dinner. All right, well, that's easy because it's just an 8th. But this one is not as easy. So back up to the goalie's pizza, except now we have this slice that is 72 degrees of the pizza. Probably bigger than that. 360 divided by 72?
So it's going to be 1/5 of 100, which is...
So be careful. It's 72 divided by 360.
Yeah, it's a 5th.
Gives us that portion.
I mean, it gives you the same.
But you know what it means.
Yeah.
But it's a 5th.
1/5.
It's 20 pi.
So it's a 5th of our 100 pi. So this is 20 pi inches squared. So even though Sonia ate the same, like one slice, this one slice is a whole lot bigger area-wise than this one slice. Not only is it a bigger angle, but because the larger diameter, you pick up a lot extra area. a lot of extra area. I probably needed it.
It's okay. It's not ELA. You don't need.
Oh, the whole world's ELA. All right, let's go back to these crust
As long as we
lengths.
know what you're saying,
right?
it doesn't matter if you're good.
So then the coach, as coaches do, creates this weird competition about whoever ate the most crust wins. And they're like, woo, and whatever. Look, just stick with me. I'm trying to make it fun, and there's no good example of why do we care how much crust we eat. So Sonia goes back and she's like, well, this half of my pizza is half of the whole thing. So she's like, I can figure out the whole thing pretty darn easy.
I'm a highlighter.
You're a highlighter?
I said I'm gonna highlight it.
So,
20 times pi.
why is it 20 times pi?
Because it's pi times diameter for the circumference.
So we just do pi d for circumference, and that gets us 20 pi for the whole thing.
10 pi.
Yeah, so this section will be 10 pi just inches of crust. So literally 31 inches of crust.
Excuse this interruption.
It's almost a
Could I please
yard of
have
crust.
Lou's Polycon to the main office?
Actually,
To the
I'm
main
pretty
office.
sure there's
Thank
some
you.
kind of pizza commercial talking about a stuffed crust pizza where they talk about like there's over a yard of pizza or something, or maybe they talk about a pound. But this is where weird commercials come from. When they say like a yard of stuffed crust pizza, well, this is over a yard. Right? If we do the whole thing, 20 pi. What's 20 pi approximately?
That'd be like 60.
Like 60, right? So it's like 62, 63, something like that. So like 63. Sorry, I don't know why I wrote another 6. Like 63 inches of crust. Yeah, that's like 5 feet. Yes, like this is real. If you had a 20-inch pizza, which isn't that big, like 20 inches is like that big.
5 feet. It's not that.
The
it's really
crust
big.
is 5
The
feet.
circle around.
It's not like a.
Yeah,
Wait, no,
No, but it's
Yeah.
not really
20
thin,
inch-
though. It's not like a-
yeah,
taller, like up to.
So
yeah.
next time you get a pizza, just cut out a big circle of the crust and then just unwrap it.
Yeah, I
Hold
find a
it up
hard
next
time.
to your head.
I find a hard time believing a pizza's taller.
I find a hard time.
Oh.
Because you're gonna just pull a pizza out of there.
I wish that would be sweet.
I know we have to.
Just pause the pizza.
Wait, were you? I just want to ask this question.
Oh, you're gonna pretend that's a pizza.
Are you gonna do the?
This is about 22
So
inches,
let's say about.
right?
Oh my gosh, no, I disbelieve.
If we wrap,
Well,
No.
okay, wait.
Is that tall? Oh my god.
What is this?
see that foot marking right there? Oh heck no, oh heck yes. Math don't lie.
Wait, how tall are you?
18 square.
Look at that. I started right here. What's that foot marking? 5 feet.
5.5
It's real.
I'm
Isn't that as tall as me?
It's not me.
So seriously, their goalie ate almost a yard of pizza.
Oh my god.
Like crust.
But it's like it's not that big.
It's what?
Yeah.
It's like a line. It's not like a.
Yeah, that'd be a little, yeah. Yeah, when we think of the crust as, I mean, the outer edge of that crust. Yeah. So, okay, well, what about, so then Sonia's like, did I do that? So, Sonia goes to calculate her crust amount with her first slice. I should really change colors. And that first slice was 1/8, right, of this circle. So, what would be the circumference of this circle? 16 pi. So 1/8 of that would be 2 pi. So the crust she ate is just 2 pi in length. So like 6-ish inches. And then Sonia's like, okay, I feel better. Oh wait, I ate that other slice though. So then Sonia goes back to that other slice and she's like, well, how much was this? Well, again, we said 72 degrees is what fraction? 1/5. And we said the circumference up here was 20 pi. What's 1/5 of 20 pi? 4 more pi, so she actually has to add on 4 more pi of consumption. And she ended up eating 6 pi of crust. Yeah, it's like 1.5 feet. I know. Like I could go for some really good pizza right now.
School lunches pizza is not.
Does what we just did make
Yeah, it's like a
sense?
foot and a
Does what we just did make sense?
Yes.
Good, because now you know everything about arcs and sectors.
Is this the whole lesson?
That's it.
Okay, I know.
Arcs. Well, I mean, we're not done, but that's all the learning. An arc, as you might be able to guess, is a portion of the circumference. It arcs. Oh, look at that.
Wow.
A sector is like a slice. So if you think of your circle like a pizza, a sector is a slice. It's a portion of the area. Now there are more particular names for the different awkward pieces of the area, because then if I draw a chord across this sector, a chord is any straight line going across the circle. That I could then shade this region, and that's totally different. We will talk about regions like that either tomorrow or next week or next chapter.
Tomorrow or next week.
Or next chapter, I don't know.
Oh.
At some point.
Or next year.
Or at some point.
Ooh, I should. My sister, she's in math one. I should show her my homework.
Wait, your sister.
She's gonna be very
Older
confused.
Yeah.
Same
What
younger
age?
sister.
Younger sister. I'm very
Same, well, technically younger, but
a twin.
So,
I've never seen
in
your
case you didn't know, there's some really awkward Guinness World Records.
You know,
Please
like,
don't what? Do a math problem?
Awkward Guinness World Record.
I'm gonna create a buzzer that every time you whine, I just buzz.
yes.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to make this problem kind of fun and like related to, instead of just saying, here's a circle, solve the thing.
You should just give
Wait,
So-
can I get Mr. Allen's no button? I can give it to you.
Yeah, just.
I mean, I have a laugh button, but it doesn't really, like,
Yeah,
that wouldn't be appropriate to use.
Mr. Allen
has
says
a no
let's get a
button.
no button. Yeah.
Maybe I should just make it like a pop-up music video. Have you guys ever seen pop-up videos on VH1? Okay, well, you won't understand this as much, but pop-up videos where they like show a music video, which you know what a music video is.
Yeah.
And they would pop up these little facts in the middle of it. And they've done this with movies too. But it would literally like pop up on the screen and it'd be like, did you know Michael Jackson, da 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 da. And I should just do that with one of our class videos. Of like, did you know David just complained about it?
That would be so much editing, though.
I know.
So why would you do that?
Oh, I'd have you do it.
I would have to pay me.
You could have a David wine counter.
Oh, you know, Mr. Hall actually played a challenge. Like when I was gone, was the class quieter? It was
Yes.
I need to show you an email I got that you guys will laugh at because it's from one of my old Math 2 kids. And the questions he asked about this class are so spot on.
Is it
All right,
from-
well, let's make sure we know how to do
wait,
this.
is it from last year?
If the radius is 10 feet, then we would say pi times radius squared is the area. But how do we deal with the fact that we have a sector? How do we modify? Yeah, we then multiply by the portion of the circle we have.
Like so that angle degree of
It's
Yeah.
1/18th, I think. 18th?
So that'd be 2/36 or 1/18. So since we know this is 100 pi, it's really 100 pi divided by 18.
Can we just leave it like that? Or do we have to
Nah, if it can reduce into something better, try to reduce, like at least reduce this. So 50 over 9 might be as far as we go.
I was just wondering if you had to like simplify it into like you do like 50 times.
A lot of times we'll tell you either get your answer to a decimal or just leave it in pi terms. So like this would be fine, except we would want a label of feet squared on this because it is area and we do know the label of
That's a lot
feet.
of pies.
Yeah, so if we had a pizza that was actually that big, which guys, honestly, if you ever watch the Today Show or whatever, I feel like they run out of news to talk about. People try to make like these Guinness World Record things, like biggest hamburger, biggest pizza, whatever, and they've made pizzas that are feet wide before.
No one else.
So if you think about a pizza that is
How-
a radius
I feel like that wouldn't cook very
that
well.
of 10, right? How many like how do you cook that? Like do you
This-
blow torch the bottom, like put it across a fire? Like I don't even know.
Put it in a desert.
So obviously, hopefully that would not be a pizza. That feels wasteful. Why are we packing up? I have 5 minutes. You break my heart when you pack up
I
early.
wasn't packing up. I was looking at something.
It's like when my first girlfriend told me things weren't working out. Just quit.
Did your girlfriend be like, I was just looking at
Actually,
you.
true
Sorry,
confession.
you're too
True
bad.
confession. I've done all the breaking up, and it's always terrible.
Mr. Husband be like, I've done the calculation. You're not compatible.
What's really bad is when you start breaking up with someone and they don't realize you're breaking up with someone, and then you have to like get more specific about we're breaking up.
Mr. Husband love life.
What? I'm just trying to give you guys advice. Make sure you have the best life possible.
So is it the best solution to say I'm breaking up with you? And then
Well, the best solution is don't do it through text. I
Yeah.
didn't, but I'm just telling you first off, don't do it through text. Second off, don't try to be nice about it.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, like, don't be mean about it, but when you're too nice about it, it doesn't come across as things are done. It comes across as like, we need to have a conversation. Like, and it's like one of those, oh, I can work on that. Oh, I can get that. And it's like, no, I just don't want to put up with this anymore. So that, yeah, then you have to get real clear.
Hudson gave me good
My
life
friend's
tips.
boyfriend broke up with her over text and then started dating a 7th grader the same day.
Okay, that's I hate people who do that. Don't
I mean, that's more also
He went to my school
It's
and
better
did
than
my hair
cheating.
all the time, so.
I'd rather break
Silly
up than
boys.
Wait a day.
silly.
So, our general rule we can create, because we'd be remiss if we left here without some easy rules like you could program into your calculator. Nudge, nudge. For sector area, so please write down sector area. And we pretty much just wrote this, but for sector area, it is gonna be pi times our radius squared times our theta divided by 360. Now, if you wanted to write this in a different manner, you could also make it theta times pi r squared over 360. Commutative property allows me to kind of bump some things around. As long as we're still going to multiply by pi and still divide by 360, the order in which we do that doesn't really matter because multiplication is commutative. Stop packing up. We're going to do a sector, or arc. But you probably don't need that, but just hang on to it. I'll even pick them up at the end. So for arc length, our normal arc length, we said is pi times diameter. Or if we want to just use radius, like if you're programming your calculator, of course you could use 2 times radius. Then what?
Well, yeah, times the theta over 360.
Same thing. Times theta over 360. Were you just starting to follow last time? So, if you're programming your calculator, all you have to have it ask you is r and theta, and you can actually write the program to spit out both answers.
How do you do it? Is theta? It's
So whenever we pack up, we have to
So,
you have to break up with Mr. Hudson before you pack up.
dude, I still have 5 minutes. When I said 5 minutes a couple minutes ago, I was just like saying I still have time. Literally, we still have time. I told you this lesson was going to be quick. Do these make sense?
yes.
Good, that's what I figured. So if we then answer these questions, it's just really interesting to look at the difference. So guys, seriously imagine these are pizzas. You have either a 3-inch diameter, I mean you could think feet if you want, or whatever units you want. Just imagine these are some made up units. The normal pizza is 3 of whatever those units are radius. The upgraded pizza is 5 of those units. What is the difference in area and arc length? So calculate both of those, area and arc length for both of those. It's, guys, the area difference is pretty astonishing.
So the arc length, wouldn't that be just like the perimeter? How like
Yeah, how much of the perimeter? So like 30 degrees is what portion of the circle? It's a 12th, right?
so
So you know you're working with a 12th of the circle here.
Okay,
You want to test it?
you should test it.
Yeah, you're just doing area, right? Should work. Yeah, it just asks you, wait, display R and theta. Don't you want it to display the answer? I haven't programmed this in a long time.
And then it's like equals.
I'll just wait for you to program your calculator, then I'll take that and program my calculator.
You really, guys, like, while I'm saying you could program your calculator, you really don't need to. Once you do some of these, the thought process becomes so fast, you really don't need the calculator doing it for you.
Mine with the really long one that takes forever to do.
Quadratic
Yeah,
formula? Yeah.
because there's like no easy way to do that except for writing.
So the whole circle I'll do area in blue and then arc length in something else.
Area's like full.
Whole area would be 9 pi, but since it's a 12th of the circle, it's 9/12 pi, or really 3/4 pi. Unit squared. So we didn't even double the radius. Right? Not even double. It's really a scale factor of like 1.6? No, 1.4.
Ooh, it does work.
No, 1.6. Yeah, it's a scale factor of 1.6. But the area over here would have been 25 pi, but a 12th of that, 25/12 pi. So wait, we went from not even a pi, or 3/4 of a pi, to greater than 2 pi. Because like we said 2 days ago, area scale factor does not apply the same as linear. And the same thing happens with circles as does any other polygon. When you scale up by something like 1.6 repeating, if we're going to be technical, more than that happens to the area. Right? That scale factor squared. So this is where, like, when you're comparing pizzas and someone's like, oh, get the 20-inch because it's twice as much as the 10. No, it's not. It's 4 times as much as the 10-inch.
Oh, well, that's
So
more
maybe
better.
that might be okay when you have like a
And
party.
you don't want to have like
a bunch of pizza left over.
Can I just quote you on that? Maybe math might be okay if you're gonna have a party and don't want a bunch of pizza left over. Is that, can I just direct quote you on that? Sammy Bothegger, 2020. Why math is okay.
Yeah, that's your good statement.
Oh wait, circumference or arc part.
Okay.
Math is okay. Because pizza.
So wait, we should actually know what happens to the arc. We shouldn't really have to calculate both of them. This would be pi d. D would be 6, so 6 pi, but divided by 12. Oh yeah, it's 1/2 because it's 6 pi over 12, so it's half pi. And then units, right? Whatever that is. And then we actually know our scale factor is 1.6 repeating. We could apply that, or you say, okay, this would be 10, and 10 pi over 12, so 10/12 or 5/6.
Why? It was.
That looks cool though.
I got the program so it shows the number and
Wow.
Yeah, there we go. All right. Does all this work make sense? No questions, no issues. Then make sure you be able to do it backwards. But we goofed around enough today. We're not going to do any of these backwards. Go ahead, pack up. You won't break my heart. Have a great day. Yes, if you have fixed all your errors, which I bet all of you have, I will update everything, even your other corrections that you put in there. I'll update all of that later today. Or tomorrow.
Other corrections in there the day you gave them. I think. I'm just gonna keep it because I think I fixed it, but I don't know for sure if I fixed B. So.
This has been my question for a long time, though. Why not make pizzas square? Like, if the boxes are square.
They save money.
Why?
It's square, then there's less area. So it looks bigger, but then they actually.
And mentally, if you put the same area of square pizza in the same square box, you're gonna look at it and be like, what? I got shorted, right? I got a bad deal. Like, your brain would say, there's a bunch of pizza missing. As opposed to when the corners are those awkward triangles, you're just like, oh yeah, it's a circle pizza. Like, you don't care. Seriously, if we could draw it out, and we might explore this for a time. If you draw out what a pizza normally looks like, take that area, turn it into a square or a rectangle, and this is where this problem is going to go into, or like what I was going to go into, your brain will be like, oh, I'm missing pizza all the way around. Or if we shove it into a corner, it just looks like our box is way too big. But my argument, same area of pizza, smaller box. Use less cardboard.
Well,